Spires and Magic, Rise of Spider-Man. Chapter 20, Honest Emotion. The Manhattan Palace, a shopping center of epic proportions with the widest selections of goods, was one of the city's greatest attractions. Naturally, the girls couldn't resist the chance to go shopping with such a luxurious place and decided to venture off first thing in the morning. Of course, girls couldn't resist shopping. Pierre let out a yawn as he tinkered with a device placed on his lap. As a male, he had to decline going on 3 counts. First, it was too early for any point to do anything, and it wasn't often he got sleep in, the Crusaders and his roommates making it impossible to do so at home. Second, there was the task at hand, or hoof in this case. Sitting upright in his chair, as if he was still a human, Pierre struggled to properly correct the adjustments on his pair of leather shoes. With the race only 2 days away, he figured now would be a good time to work in peace, without having to be wary of unwanted interruption, namely by the 2 ponies who didn't know his secret, a TV and Final Scratch. However, the third reason was Pierre's primary excuse for not taking along with his friends. Immediately after his conversation with Princess Luna a few hours ago, Pierre started making the modifications to his web shooters, but the problems arose during the process, leading to several complications. The pony design was rather sensitive compared to the normal humans, meaning jamming was a frequent problem. As something that sort of happened during the race, fault for several stories was in the stallion's future. Not to mention his web cartridges were dangerously close to being empty, forcing Pierre to recreate a new magic gossamer from scratch. He stayed up a great portion of the night, determined to finish his project as soon as possible. If anybody were to see him at the moment, they'd mistake it for a zombie. Fortunately, his hard work paid off, and modifications of the designs were complete. The cartridges were refilled in decent time. Excuse me, I got a complaint with that last paragraph, or those last few paragraphs. Excuse me, as a male, you had to focus on the task at hand. You could have deleted those 3 words and the sentence would have been fine. But those 3 little words annoy me. What you're basically saying with those 3 words is that since Pierre is a guy, he's far more determined to focus on tasks instead of the girls. Yep. Well, we know that out of all of them, the only ones that would be distracted from their jobs would be the cute little pink pony over here. Sick it! Of course, all the girls want to go shopping. I remember back when I was 8 and 13 and I had mostly the girls do only shopping. Newsflash, buddy! I'm a dude, and I love to shop. I love going from store to store, journeying out and looking at places all over the place. And if you're a hobbyist, especially when it comes to things like anime, comics, or video games, believe me, you're going to enjoy shopping more than you realize. Because that FYE down in the mall is not going to always have that wonderful anime that you want. Likewise, that Barnes & Noble is not going to have that brand new JoJo's Bizarre Adventure manga and it should have been out by now. Why is it not in my hands? Sorry, still a little miffed. So, no. You could have fixed this paragraph off by saying that the girls all wanted to see the sights. Now, some of the girls on this team, I don't mind with you saying that they immediately wanted to go shop. Rarity would obviously go shopping for dresses for the girls, or new accessories, or most importantly, finding new equipment for her store. Now, if you wanted to say Applejack went shopping too, you could have said that Applejack was going shopping for farming equipment. Which would have led to a fun scene of Rarity bringing along Applejack, and Applejack being covered in nothing but Rarity's bags. Where's? I don't think you'll need all this. Nonsense sounding, of course I do. Why couldn't you lift us all up with your magic? And waste valuable mana? Silly Justia. No. I refuse to waste valuable mana letting all those horrendous bags. Especially when I have a big, strong workhorse like you to do it. I'm going to rip your freaking tail off. See? Now, Pinkie Pie? So you'd probably be more likely visiting every single dessert store twice. Twilight would be at the library. And Rainbow Dash would probably be trying her best to see what type of air limit laws she could break in Manhattan. I hope you get my point of why this annoys me. Basically, it's trying to, with those 3 words, you're trying to say that the girls are the only ones who like shopping, and it's the guy who doesn't. Now, this wasn't your intention, and now you realize that. And still, you could have let those 3 words out, and just said that the girls decided to all wanted to do something fun within the city. Problem solved. Raising his hooves, Pierre let out a voracious yawn before falling over in a slump. There's still time for him to catch a little sleep before the trip to the plaza. Sadly, he knew the girls were not going to allow him to miss out, even if he wanted to. The door opened behind him, its protesting creak echoing throughout the room. Pierre saw a glance out of the corner of his eye, making sure the majority of his attention was to remain on the device on his lap. However, upon recognizing the shade of lavender on the girl's coat, a warm smile formed Pierre's face. He placed the web shooter on the table, turned his chair completely around. The mare raised his brow at the stallion, but managed to return the smile with one of her own. "Peter, you're still up?" Twilight whispered, maintaining the volume at a respectful level. Her mane appeared a bit ruffled, and small bags appeared under her large eyes, allowing Bear to be waking up prematurely. Peter saw her quite a bit like this, usually the first thing in the morning, but even in such a state, Twilight was cute. Pierre's mouth opened wide, letting out a large yawn that did not dare conceal. Pierre just admitted his roommate was cute. His brain refused to comment. Whether it was finally ready to agree with Pierre or it was just too sleepy to retort, Pierre nodded. It was probably a bit of both cases. "Yeah, I was just trying to make a few modifications to my web shooters." His eyelids grew heavy, but Pierre managed to keep them half open. "What are you doing up?" Speaking of this whole entire being up early scenario, Pierre is making web fluid, and nobody hears this? If you give me a moment. After checking it up, a lot of times if you see Pierce's chemicals for his web fluids, he usually has a jar, a couple of beakers, and most of the time he ends up making a nice little chemical compound. A lot of times chemical reactions tend to fizz. All the girls must be some heavy-duty sleepers. "What are you doing, Hup?" Rolling her eyes, Twilight playfully poked Pierre in the side, bringing his gaze to find a free hoof pointing at the closed window across the room. Using her magic, Twilight opened the blinds, allowing the early morning sun's rays to beam into the room. Pierre exhaled as he used his hose to shield his eyes. It seemed that the modifications took longer than expected. Against his will, he pulled an all-nighter and wasn't too stupid to notice. Twilight shook her head disapprovingly. "You're just lucky the race is tomorrow and not today." Shrugging his shoulders, Pierre shook his head. "Tell me about it. I feel like a total zombie." "Keep working yourself like this, and you'll look like one, too." Placing her hoof on his shoulder, Twilight offered the stallion a warm smile. "Easy get some sleep, Pierre. I don't want you—" "Twilight, you're the last one to talk about sleep." Twilight's ears perked at a peculiar sound. Soft snores escaped from Pierre as he sat with his head down on the side. A few strands of unkempt mane rested over his face, finding a way to stakes to the drool escaping from his open mouth. Twilight cooed at the sight, finding it cute in the worst way. With her magic, she dropped the quilt from the bed over Pierre's body, when he sent of his head. But since it was uncomfortable, he moved on his own. But Twilight giggled, knowing her friend's flexibility made it possible for him to sleep anywhere in any fashion. She even found Pierre asleep on the ceiling once. Peeking and tempted, succeeding somehow, to duct herself along the side. The longer she watched Pierre sleep, the higher her face grew. She found herself thinking of her roommate more by the day. Only figured it was likely due to the accident regarding the book. Yet, the sensation coursing through her body felt different. It was warmer. Unlike the heavy guilt that had threatened to crush her, this feeling was light, but fleeting. Butterflies would fill her stomach. It was periodic, but Twilight never wanted to leave. It was reminiscent to the way she felt at the night of the gala. Pierre looked more attractive than usual. She already found him easy on the eyes. Twilight bit her lip. It only worsened when they danced. She never felt so flustered. He held her close so only by a moment, and she actually liked being in his hose. Her breathing grew shallow. She had no idea his body was so solid. Twilight rolled her eyes. It was nature to be a servant. Her comment meant nothing. It was odd, and it only happened whenever she was around Pierre. She even became nervous around him. Her pores were open, causing her to sweat mildly. As Twilight watched Pierre fall deeper into his slumber, her heartbeat's pace increased as her usual symptoms returned, more intensely than usual. Instinctively she edged closer, unaware that her mouth was dangerously close to Pierre's cheek. Fortunately, her mind realized what was happening, prompting Twilight to clumsily back away. A brow furrowed. There was something else she felt, a burning desire to press onward. She shook her head. It's anticipation. Did a part of her actually want to? Yes. Tuck him in. The temperature on her face grew even more intense. Her heart threatened to burst upon us as a thought. Whatever these feelings were, Twilight did not know what they meant. She would ask Pierre what was happening, but she needed an entire day to catch up on his sleep. As on the day of the race, she made sure to ask Celestia. Surely she had a logical explanation for her unusual behavior. Hopefully, it was not anything serious. With her mind made up, she turned to take her leave. Pierre needed his rest. She stopped at the doorway, stealing one final glance at the sleeping stallion. She scoffed, closing the door behind her. Perhaps she was a bit too observant. Twilight's mind continued to race as she made her back to her bedroom. Pierre had become a regular subject of interest over the past few weeks for Twilight, but she couldn't figure out why during sometimes. Now, particularly, her physical and mental beings became so enthralled with the matter. Some physical symptoms were shallow breaths, quickening heart rate, sweating hose, increased body temperature, and a tendency to smile more often than usual. It was an anomaly matched only by her mental symptoms, which included countless thoughts centered around Pierre, and antidote sense of fuzziness. In hers, it was yet to be understood, much to her own irritation. To make matters worse, she actually enjoyed these unusual sensations. The librarian frowned her brow at the thought. Whenever it came to Pierre, there was only one point she could talk to without being judged. Plus, she was the only one awake at this hour. With her sense of logic, hopefully she could provide a rational explanation regarding Twilight's bizarre behavior. Alright, Twi, this is mostly serious if you want to talk so early in the morning, Applejack stated, scratching the back of her ear. The dining hall was empty, breakfast not having been prepared yet. Based on the details of Twilight's request, it was for the best no pony could hear what she had to say. Shrugging, Applejack removed her hat from her golden crown and placed it on the middle of the table, between herself and her friend. Talk to me. What's wrong? It's about Pierre, Twilight bluntly replied, frowning. Her hoof tapped feverishly against the table as the stallion's image flooded her mind once more, causing the mare to groan inwardly. Even now it was happening. I've been thinking about him so much lately, but I don't know why. Applejack raised her brow. Did something happen? No, absolutely nothing has happened. It's not like the incident with the book. Everything has been fine between us. No, everything's been great lately. I don't understand at all. Twilight's voice sped with each word, revealing a fresher state of mind. Bang! I'm sorry, that was the sound of the Betzel test exploding. Ever since that night at the Grand Galvin Gala, I've been really nervous around him. Just a few minutes ago, I think I wanted to kiss him. She placed both phones on the table and leaned closer to the blonde, with a puzzled expression in her large eyes. This has never happened before, Applejack. What's wrong with me? No immediate response was given, at least not the type Twilight was expecting. Applejack placed her hoof on her forehead and giggled instantly. Nothing's wrong with you, Twi. It's just... She paused, unable to suppress her growing laughter. Twilight glared. Applejack, this is serious. Applejack waved her hoof apologetically. Is that so, Twilight? She thought. remembering how dense her intelligent friend could be. There ain't nothing to worry about, Sugar Cube. I think I know what's wrong. Gentle assurance could be felt from her voice. Let me take a guess. Pete's the only pony that makes you feel this way? The lavender mare nodded. Yes, I've never felt like this for any pony before. Indeed she had not. Well, she had grown considerably more sociable over her time in Ponyville. Twice circles of friends were small compared to the normal ponies. But it was because of that circumstance she forged a sibling bond with those closest to her. Yet, her feelings for Pierre were different from those she held for Spike in Shining Armor. A deep sense of admiration, but something else. Her cheeks practically burned. Was it? She shook her head, turning her gaze to the ground, namely out of embarrassment. Such an outlandish thought. It couldn't have been that. She bit her lip. Could it? Strackwell? A Corey smile forward at the farmer's face, despite the blush on her friend's features. You said you've been out of this since the gala, right? Can you be more specific? That's easy. It was when we danced together. Twilight said straightforwardly, the memory of that night remaining as fresh as ever. Her mind went adrift. To the moment everything changed. Twilight clumsily struggled to find her balance, all the while trying to remain a sense of rhythm to the show, orchestral score playing about the room. She had never been much of a dancer, and with four-left hoes it was wondered no pony said anything about it. Her dance partner was not better off. Pierre's gaze remained locked on his host, occasionally shifting to meet Twilight's violet irises. Despite his incredible sense of balance, Pierre continuously misstepped, narrowly bumping into his friends with each motion. With a heart misread, Twilight stumbled first, falling forward with an unsettling grace. However, no crash landing occurred. Twilight opened her eyes, trying to find what stopped her plunge, but her breathing grew once shallow as she found herself leaning into Pierre's body. The side of her head pinned against his solid chest. Both his hooves were wrapped around her shoulder frame, pulling further into an embrace of sorts. An astounding heat wave coursed through her body. The precision was embarrassing, clearly, yet Twilight felt no need to leave Pierre's grasp. She could practically feel the strength shielding her from the strangers of the world. Sadly, in her bliss, she failed to notice her friends were staring, most out of awe. Ah! I said awe. A-W-E. Ooh. Twilight's eyes widened as her senses returned, and her face flushing with embarrassment. Mira quickly, much to her dismay, broke away from Pierre. But in a rush, she accidentally stepped on the right tip of his hoof. The night continued without incident, but for Twilight the moment remained, part of her to wrestling to relieve it in the future. Blinking, she finally brought herself back to the present before turning back to Applejack, only offered a smug grin in return. The temperature on her cheeks continued to rise, threatening to melt away her very presence. Was it truly that she felt? It could have been. Pierre, does he strike to you? Applejack closed her eyes and huffed. It's painfully obvious what Twilight was feeling, but she wanted her friend to figure it out too. Alright, Twi, last one. Does Pete know how you feel? Reminiscent to a lightning striking a rod, the question ignited something within Twilight. Pierre was the center of her building emotions. So why did she not go to him first? It didn't seem right. Was it due to a lack of trust? Twilight shook her head firmly. Of course it wasn't. She trusted Pierre with her life. No, it was because of something else. The feelings she bore were intimate, not to be taken lightly. The inside of her chest tightened. Was it that? Twilight brought her hoof over her heart, smiling at how erratic her pace had grown. Applejack, am I... Stracthley. Smiling, Applejack reached over the table and placed her hoof on top of her friend's, and giggled. Sugar Cube, I just plain as die. You're in love with him. I'm in what? She peeped, nearly stumbling out of her seat. Placing her hooves over her burning cheeks, Twilight shook her head profusely. Love? No, I can't! Her eyes grew wider with each passing second. Suddenly the temperature on her chest reached a fever pitch, giving a furry nod metaphorically. A final image of Pierre flashed across her mind. Everything's starting to make sense. Twilight nodded as her lips curled to a smile. I'm in love. Applejack smirked. You're finally starting to be honest with yourself. Now all you have to tell Pete is how you feel. Huh? Twilight felt like she was going to melt, discontinued. Applejack, I can't. Sure you can. No, I can't. The smile on her face remained. A hint of sadness formed in her eyes. I've done nothing but cause Pierre trouble. It's my fault he's trapped in Equestria. And ceiling, the blonde self fell over her forehead. Twa, you and Pierre are so much alike, it ought to be a crime. A odd smile formed on her face as she placed her hoof over Twilight's. You always think you're causing him trouble. You always think he's causing you problems. She began to caress her friend's hoof. You two are always thinking about each other. And that's apparently enough to start a relationship, people! Twilight's mouth fell agape. Her flesh remained. Really? He thinks about me too? Applejack's words echoed through her mind. Pierre thought he was a problem. He had not done anything wrong since his arrival. Honey, I've been studying with Pierre for the past 20 chapters, and so far, he has blamed himself for dang near everything under the sun, has kicked himself while he's down, and I'm almost positive he's about to blame himself for Nightmare Moon incident. Oh my god. Poor Luna. She felt so horrible about her past. And I'm the one who caused her envy. See, what I tell you? What's the unicorn surprise? See, Applejack probably stood from her seat. Best advice I could give you is tell Plea how you feel. You need to talk to pick up on little hints. She placed her hat back over her head. The blonde huffed. Y'all have that in common, too. Just tell him? Twilight closed her eyes and shook her head disapprovingly. As she wielded the element of honesty, Applejack's advice would have been easy to follow. His situation had grown too complex for such a simple solution. Oh, shit! Her violet irises softened at the thought. His holding the secret proved challenging, especially when the subject of interest was so close. Will you understand? Once he ended up pushing away by revealing her feelings. Kneeling, Twilight felt a pull from under her chest. It cringed once an easy sensation occurred. Such a thought hurt, but she managed to hold a smile. Pierre had proven his loyalty too many times for any point to question now. Staying by her side even after the truth regarding the book came into light. At the very least, he wouldn't run away. But fear remained. Constantly married to bite down her lip. Even if she were to consider Applejack's advice, how about exactly would she go about doing it? Exasperated growing escaped the unicorn. Despite her fast intellect, Twilight was hopelessly clueless when it came to her love. Her crimson-stained cheeks continued to burn, prompting Twilight to laugh forcefully. Not that she was actually in love, of course. Twilight shook her head, dismissing the thought. She was, of course, in love. But how do I tell him? Sometimes it's not about telling. It might be better showing Pete how you feel. As I placed her hoof on Twilight's side, I patted gently. Just go with your gut. It'll make things fun. Before she could hope to ask anything, Applejack left the facility, laughing heartily on her way out. Twilight watched her friend with a look of bewilderment. What does he mean? The temperature on her features rose, an idea of denying the surge of emotion. Gasping, Twilight's hoof fell over her mouth. Surely Applejack didn't mean that. It was played through her mind mercilessly, as if part of her brain wanted to give the theory a try. No, it was illogical. Who would try something so outlandish? Hopping from her seat, Twilight decided to retreat to her quarters, thinking of an alternative means to reveal her feelings to Pierre. Her lips curled to a smile as their flushed gaze rose from the ground. Silly as the idea was, Twilight admitted tempting to give it a try. Pierre's eyes flared open, taking it as little light as possible. He steadily rose from his position, pausing to wipe his face clean as a rule, but the task proved rather messy. His bean stuck to the pastor's cheek. Laying on the ground, Pierre forced himself on his seat and made his way over to the nearest window. The sun slowly set across the horizon, allowing a new night to steadily take hold of the world. Oh, for the love of... I slept the entire day? Pierre sighed, pressing himself over his forehead. Hey! Trying to sound his voice, Twilight found her entering the room, a bright smile on her face. You're finally awake. Twilight, how long was I out? Soph continued to wipe away at the slob. With no mirror in sight, Pierre knew he looked like a Tasmanian devil. Please tell me you didn't take any pictures. It's almost 7 p.m. I'm sure nobody disturbed you. And no, I didn't take any. Thanks. Time was certainly against him. Because he overslept, Pierre only had 17 hours until his race with Spitfire. Walking over to the table, the stallion peeked out from his head underneath the desk, found his trustworthy backpack sitting to the far side. He reached out, but the muscle between his neck and shoulder tightened, causing Pierre to groan outwardly. Now was a good time to stretch his limbs. He removed the gloves from his costume and brought them to the table. As the stallion replaced his webbed sewers within each glove properly, it occurred that a field test was mandatory. Once the procedure had been completed, Pierre threw the rest of his costume on, earning a baffled expression from the lavender mare. Before she could say anything, she rushed over to the window and slid it open. Wait! Twilight blurted out, causing her friend to stop in his tracks. What are you about to do? His mask covered the majority of the stallion's face, revealing only his mouth. Pierre used one hoof to point it down the other. I had to make sure my web sewers are working properly. Pulling his mask all the way down, Spider-Man nodded his head firmly. I won't be long. Well, before you go, there's something I want to ask you. Twilight's tone suddenly grows soft, maintained only by the concern held in her violet irises. Well, Spider-Man turned around and removed his mask, maintaining his purse position by the window. Twilight took a step forward, closing the distance between herself and her hero. Breathing began to grow shallow. Do you honestly believe you can win tomorrow? Scratching the back of his head, Spider-Man shrugged. Not sure, really. I'll never know unless I try. Spitfire's an elite flyer. You may be a great hero, but you're still a unicorn taking on a Pegasus in an aerial race. Twilight glanced to the side, pressing her hoof against the other. She hated being so pessimistic to her friends. The current situation begged for it as odds fell against Pierre. Yet, her smile remained firm. I just want to know you'll be okay. Pierre remained quiet for a few moments. She closed her eyes, biting down her lip nervously. The sound of the stallion's light chuckling brought her violet gaze to match his hazel irises. I could tell you. He reached out, offering the mare's hoof, but I think it'd be better if I just showed you. The same warmth that professed Twilight resurfaced, evident by the blush forming in her cheeks. Her eyes stared questionably at the jester. Surely, he did not expect her to go web-slinging with him yet. Yet, there he remained, his hoof reaching out to her. Twilight felt the intake of breath shortening. Not from fear, but a longing sense of anticipation. The same sensation she felt earlier. You're in love with him. Twilight brought her hoof down over her chest in a faint tune to calm down her heartbeat. Perhaps out of instinct, her body moved on its own. Pierre's posture remained calm, meaning his paces had not dimmed. He was always tolerated her, even on the worst days. Twilight knew she couldn't be in better care. Why did he hesitate? His feelings were not bad. In fact, Twilight longed to understand him. Why did Pierre cause such a spur in her emotions? Why did she enjoy it thoroughly? She couldn't have been normal. Now all you had to do was tell Pierre how you feel. Whether or not it was, Twilight pressed down onward, placing her hoof around between Pierre's. Suddenly, her lips curled into a smile, sending a contact of warm wave through her body. Her eyes widened. The answer had been in front of her the entire time. How could she have not seen it? However, it felt wrong, especially after everything she did. Has she a right to feel this way? Pierre may have accepted her apology regarding the book, but surely he couldn't do the same for this. Sometimes it's not about telling. You might be better off showing P how you feel. It was too much. She had to do something. Pierre ready to lift Twilight on his back, but the mare pulled his hoof away from his. Before he could ask for an explanation, Twilight leaned forward and pressed her lips onto his. Pierre's eyes widened as his mind flooded with thoughts of shock, awe, and horror. Was a pony kissing him? What brought this on? Why wasn't he stopping it? So many questions plagued his mind. Pierre's vision glazed over, centering on the violet irises that rested inches away. She was beautiful. He always knew that. But didn't he fact that she was a pony? Granted, he accepted that he was also a pony. It was a shield he held needlessly. 20 years accepted him despite his alien background. So why he could not do the same? More questions echoed throughout his mind, but his body ignored them, melting into exaggerative affection. Pierre placed his hoof over Twilight's shoulder, pulling her further into the kiss. She moaned inside his mouth, pure bliss filling her senses. The pair finally parted, perhaps out of need of oxygen. Twilight held her hoof out of her mouth, savoring the taste bestowed on her lips. Her eyes widened, her mind lately realizing what had just transpired. She kissed Pierre. What had she done? Her body acted on its own. Twilight shifted her head and frowned frantically. She actually kissed him. There was so much she wanted to say, but her senses grew numb. The strength all flowers of thought. Twilight, Pierre whispered, edging closer to her mare. Her lips quivered. Good luck tomorrow! She blurted out, cursing her mind for betraying her mouth. Roused out of emotion, Twilight turned away and ran out of the room. She chastised herself. It was unfair to do such a thing to Pierre, but her mind was too fragile to think clearly. Her feelings for Pierre were sound, that much she knew, Twilight felt as a mistake had been made. Was she premature in her decision? Or rather, her reaction? What could she do? Twilight nodded inwardly, knowing there was some point you could help her. It was truly love she was experiencing. Twilight knew who to send a letter to. Dear Cadence, how soon can we speak? I'm in Baintown at the moment, but I'll be back in Ponyville by Tuesday. Do you think we could speak then? Just the two of us, I mean. I think I'm in love.